Hello, my name is Stevie Dubins, and I just finished a series where I ranked every gym leader, Elite 4 member, and champion according to their win percentage versus all other trainers. In this one, I'm going to create a Pokemon game that has the top trainer for each spot. So let's get started. For Gym 1, the highest ranked trainer was Viola from X and Y, who had a Surskit and a Vivillon. Early game bugs are really strong for this point in the game because they evolve so early on, and their stat distribution is pretty good even if their typing is not. A while ago, I made a list of what I thought were the best trainers for each gym and never ended up making a video, so I guess I'll put that here. For Gym 1, I thought the best trainer was the monkey trainers from Black and White. I thought them having a counter to the player was pretty good, considering it was Gen 1. They ended up being the second worst trainers in the entire series, so maybe I don't really know what I'm talking about. For Gym 2, I have Misty from Red and Blue, who iconically has a Starmie. I've praised Starmie so much during this series, and for good reason. In the Gen 1 video, I found that Misty had beaten 40% of gym leaders, which just amazes me that a Starmie can solo that many gyms. For my guess, this one was a gimme. I also said Misty. For Gym 3, I have Kabu from Sword and Shield, whose team is Ninetales, Arcanine, and Synthescourge. This is a really solid team that I think easily clears Blaine of Gen 1, who is a 7th gym leader. In my opinion, Gym 3 is the gym with the most competition for the title. You've got so many good trainers. You got Whitney from Gen 2, Watson from Gen 3, Iono from Gen 9. There's a huge jump in power level from Gen 2 to Gym 3. In most Pokemon games, not looking at you, Lieutenant Surge. And I ended up going with Iono, who did well, but definitely not as well as Kabu. For Gym 4, I have Crasher Wake from Diamond and Pearl, who had a team of Gyarados, Quagsire, and Floatzel. This trainer was probably the most surprisingly good one, and ended up almost breaking into the top 10, being a 4th gym leader. I think it speaks to how good Gyarados is, because a lot of the top water gyms have a Gyarados. My pick for Gym 4 ended up being Flannery from Ruby and Sapphire. I've always really liked Flannery, and I think the reason I ended up picking her is because she was always one of the more difficult trainers to beat when I was a kid playing these games and not understanding how Sun works. For Gym 5, I have Clement, who is from X and Y, and he has a team of Emolga, Magneton, and Heliolisk. If Crasher Wake didn't exist, this would probably be the most surprising trainer, because he almost entered the top 20 as a Gym 5 trainer. Electric is a pretty solid defensive type, doesn't have a lot of weaknesses, and having a good ground answer in Emolga is probably the reason why this team flew this high. Pun intended. My pick for Gym 5 was Norman, which I think is a pretty solid choice, but the team I simulated with was the Emerald team, which is worse given the fact that he doesn't have 2 Slackings, and anything is going to be worse than having 2 Slackings. That plus Mononormal's pretty bad type and has a lot of resists. For Gym 6, I have Rhyme from Scarlet and Violet, whose team consists of Banette, Mimikyu, Houndstone, and Toxtricity. Ghost is an S tier defensive type, and all of the Gen 9 gym leaders have a random Pokemon with random coverage, and it's pretty helpful for these normally monotype teams. For Gym 6, I also picked Rhyme, so good for me. For Gym 7, I have Pierce from Sword and Shield, who has a team of Scrafty, Malamar, Skuntank, and Obstagoon. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not really sure why this team ranked as high as it did, because I don't usually think of Dark as being a particularly good typing. My guess is the main Dark counters, Bug and Fighting, both have awful gym leaders, so my guess is it's more of a matchup thing than anything else. My pick for Gym 7 was Tate and Liza, who again was one of the harder gym leaders when I was a kid because I didn't understand how double battles work. For Gym 8, I have Raihan, who has Gigalith, Flygon, Sandaconda, and Duraludon. This is a pretty solid sand team that I've previously said could have easily been the Elite 4 team. That, plus the fact that Gym 8 has a very large drop-off in quality. Giovanni, Juan, Volkner, Drayden, Wolfric, Grusha, to name a few. There's not a huge amount to choose from, so I was also able to guess this one because, there's not a huge amount of options. For the Elite 4, I picked the 4 highest ranked Elite 4 members. The first Elite 4 member I have is Seabold from X and Y, who up until making this list, I had no idea who that was. He had a team of Clawitzer, Gyarados, Starmie, and Barbacle. Seabold is actually the only non-dragon type trainer that finds his way into my Elite 4. My second Elite 4 member is Raihan from Sword and Shield. who has a pretty good Sun team with Torkoal, Gudra, Turtonator, Flygon, and Duraludon. You remember how I said the last Raihan team was Elite 4 level? Well, this one is top Elite 4 level, apparently. It's honestly pretty impressive that he makes it twice on this list. My third Elite 4 member is Drake from Ruby and Sapphire, who has a team of Shelgon, Altaria, Kingdra, Flygon, and Salamence. Maybe this is just me, but I feel like of the mono dragon trainers, Drake is one of the more forgotten ones. I think I'm maybe basing this off the fact that he doesn't have his own Pokemon card. My last Elite 4 member is Hassel of Scarlet and Violet, who has a team of Noivern, Exorus, Dragalge, Flapple, and Baxcalibur. This is just a really solid team with a huge amount of coverage, even though it's a monotype team. Hassel is another one who has yet to get a card. It's still pretty early on, but every other Paldean Elite 4 member has a card. To be fair, like, what are you going to put on his card? He's just a middle-aged guy who cries. It's not like he's the GOAT Larry. At Champion, I have Cynthia, who literally everyone could have guessed, so I'm going to end the video here. Thank you, and goodbye.